Hi, this is the video for Daf Shevui, Daf Peh Heh of Masechet Ketubot. I am Josh Kulp. You can see it is finally winter here in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. I am wearing my warm sweater, shirt, and undershirt, keeping bundled up. I hope you are warm there wherever you are listening to this talk. And I wanted to talk a little bit about there's a lot of ma'asim, a lot of stories, halachic stories, court cases that come up on this daf, and I wanted to talk about one of them, and just to maybe mention something we've talked about before, how messy reality is vis-a-vis the on the books halacha, the legal recordings that are really the pure halacha versus the applied halacha. So Hahi Itata, this is on the middle of the first page. Hahi Itata, there was a woman that became liable for taking an oath at Rava's court, meaning for some reason they were suspected that she owed money, and she, in order to claim and to prove that she did not owe that money, she had to take an oath. This is something that we find often in halacha, where we don't have conclusive proof that somebody is obligated to pay money. What we do is we say they have to take a shvuah, an oath that they are exempt. And the idea is that people generally are hesitant or will not lie under oath. And therefore, if the woman said that she did not owe the money, then we can trust her because she took the oath. And comes along Bat Rav Chisda. Interesting, you've got two women in this story. The daughter of Rav Chisda comes and she says, I know this woman is suspected of taking false oaths. You can't trust this woman. And you can see how the entire system of oaths works under the, let's say, a priori assumption that most people tell the truth. But if we know that a person is suspected of not telling the truth, then their oaths are no longer trusted. Rava therefore said that not that she has to take an oath that she's an exempt, but the claimant can take an oath and collect payment, which is generally not done. Generally, you take an oath to exempt yourself. You do not take an oath in order to collect. So sometimes, or another time, they were sitting in front of Rav Papa and Rav Matana were sitting in front of Rava. And there was a guy, or a document that was brought in front of them, a document in front of them. And Rav Papa, one of the Talmidim, one of the students, said, I know that this document has already been paid. And Rava turns to Rav Papa, Rav Papa's a very famous, well-known rabbi, and he says, if you have another person to testify with you, then you'll be believed. But if you don't have another person to testify, one witness is not sufficient in halacha. So here comes the big problem. Rav Ada Bar Matana, who's the other student sitting there, and says, look, you trusted the daughter of Rav Chisda as one witness. How can you not trust Rav Papa? It seems quite absurd. Rav Papa, a famous rabbi, a Talmid Chacham, you don't trust him, but you trust the daughter of Rav Chisda. There are some interesting notes here on the trust of women, right, versus the trust of men. You can see here Rava trusts the woman and doesn't trust the men. And he says it exactly. He says, Bat Rav Chisda kimli begava. I really know about her. I know that she wouldn't lie. But when it comes to Rav Papa, remarkably, Rava says, I don't even know if I can trust the guy. His own Talmid Muvhak, his own outstanding student. So I don't want to get into the relationship. I can imagine that Rava and Rav Papa had a contentious relationship after this moment. But you can see here the tension between the abstract halacha, which says you need two witnesses in order to exact payment, in order to enforce any law. It's one of the cardinal principles of Jewish law, al pi shnayim edim yakum hadavar. Based on the testimony of two witnesses, the matter will stand. Comes along Rava in his real court. How does he work? He says, look, I don't have two witnesses in this case, but I trust that Bat Rav Chisda would not, for no reason, would not be saying that this woman cannot be trusted, and therefore the words of Rav Chisda's daughter are going to be trusted. I don't have that relationship with Rav Papa. You can't hold me to some consistency that I'm going to believe everybody on every single witness that comes. I'm going to figure out whether I happen to know about that person that they're trustworthy or I don't. And I'll conduct my court accordingly. And you can see the Rishonim, the commentators, basically say this is how courts in reality work. The judge, right, he has a corpus of halakha, of laws, through which he's supposed to be guided. But those laws that he's guided by if they don't make sense to him in that particular moment, then to a large extent he's willing. The judge is able to override them. He may be criticized by other judges, and if he does so too often, his authority may come into question altogether. But at least at the immediate moment, the judge does have that leeway.